What's up, everyone? How you guys doing today? I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the Derek O'Shea Show. I appreciate every single one of you. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I hope you caught my morning show on YouTube and Instagram. It's on BitChute and Rumble. But I'm doing a new morning comrade show, and here's a little taste. Hello. But it's fighting against disinformation, and I'm going to be publishing stuff that I'm totally serious about and not joking about it whatsoever, because this stuff is not fun anymore. But if you're not a subscriber on my YouTube or BitChute or Rumble, be a subscriber. Also, use BitChute and Rumble as backups, because I was on strike last week and I had no idea until I woke up in the morning and somebody said, "Hey, what you're doing is cyberbullying." I know on these liberal networks, they do the same thing you're doing, and they make fun of conservatives and call out stuff that conservatives do, but that's okay. What you're doing is totally wrong. You can't call out truth to power. But this video is being passed around of Texas Democrats talking about the voting rights bill, which is always so funny to me when I hear voting rights. It's voting rights. You're not talking about abortion. You're talking about women's rights. It's always about someone's rights being taken away. It's not an actual bill that just says, hey, you have to, if you're going to do absentee, it's this amount of days, and you have to go to this location, and if you want to vote, you have to use your ID. It's not like insane stuff like that, but there's this delusion going around, being pushed around. Right now, you're having Delta variant being pushed around, as there's new reports coming out that illegal immigrants crossing the border are very 900% spike in COVID cases just coming across the border. So when I see stuff like that, and then I see them like trying to push this campaign saying it's these daggum conservatives not getting the shot, which statistically in reality that's not true. But it's these conservatives not getting the friggin' shot. And then they see all these illegal immigrants crossing the border and they have COVID. Do they really care about COVID? This is why we don't trust you. Nothing you do makes sense when it comes to this disease. Nothing. The vaccines, especially the therapeutics, the information on deaths, all that stuff. You're doing a great job of just making people not believe you whatsoever, but that's what you want to do anyways, right? Because it's all about creating a narrative, and it's all about division. We can't be all on the same page as you would pretend like you want us to be. But here are the Texas Democrats talking about voting rights bill, and this video is being passed around. And honestly, this video kind of makes me sad, because there's a certain delusion that is going on in this video. But let's listen to this video, because it's important to see what some of our politicians, especially at state and local levels, are speaking and talking about, because this is not seen as something that's, well, insane or delusional or over the top or disinformation. This is seen as truth. This is seen as fact, and it should be celebrated. And that's why I think you should hear it, and that's why I think it's concerning. Let's listen to this video.
We refuse to be a hostage.
That's right.
To remain a hostage within the state of Texas. And I know that there are search warrants out for us, and I'm ready to be arrested. What do you do to a slave if you don't do nothing but arrest them when they flee?
That is an insane statement. You are not a slave. You are not a slave. You are free. You are free indeed. In fact, you were fairly voted in an election to be in power. You have 4 mics in front of you. 4. You have cameras all around you. You have people behind you backing you up. You are free. This delusion that you're basically a slave and you're on the run, you're a civil rights leader. This pushed narrative, this delusion that it's celebrated and not seen as over the top or wrong think or a really negative. The psyche it does to people listening to this that celebrate and accept this and see this as truth is horrible. If you see yourself as a victim, you see yourself as oppressed, and you're never going to amount to anything, and you're not free, and you're not an American, you're not a human, and you're the police are always out to, like, when you think like this, it doesn't create healthy individuals to be healthy citizens in America. You're creating a narrative, and you're encouraging this narrative. And I think this narrative has been pushed on people like her, and you're going to see how her emotions continue to take over throughout this interview. But let's continue to listen to her. And again, this is about voting rights. This is about
showing ID. Here's the amount of days that you can drop your ballot box up. I mean, Republicans met halfway. They didn't even really push what I wanted them to push. As always, typical Republicans, it's just little speed bumps. Let's listen.
We fled Texas, and if they want to arrest me, go ahead. I'm ready to be arrested. Because I spent almost 24 hours listening to bills, the voters' right bill. And to me, that was...
I spent 24 hours. I had to do my job. I'm so sorry. Didn't you sign up for this? Okay.
That was very, very intimidating to have to sit there.
Intimidating? It's only intimidating because you're in the weaker party in Texas for now. Well, I'll see in the next election. I hope it doesn't turn blue. But it's how is that this intimidating? These white Republicans, these oppressive. When there's a lot of Hispanics in there, these Republicans, these oppressors were making me, forcing me, making me, holding me hostage, making me listen to these dangerous ideas. This is hysteria at its finest. And it's celebrated. Let's keep listening.
And watch people come and beg. Watch the disabled come and beg. Watch the ordinary citizens come and beg just for an opportunity to be able to participate in their democracy. Only to get ignored at the end of the line when we voted along partisan lines. And when I think about how we had to come a long ways and watch signs that says no dogs, no Negroes, no Mexicans.
That is what?
When dogs was leached on our people, when they were beaten, when they were bombed,
What?
when they were killed, and all of the things that we had to endure. Haven't we done enough?
Right.
Have we paid the price enough?
Yes.
What is it going to take for us to be able to be Americans in this country?
I've seen a lot of people make fun of her for this statement. I have empathy towards her because, well, I don't want to believe that she's disingenuous. I don't want to believe she's outright lying. I know there's probably there's a huge possibility she is lying. There's a huge possibility she's pushing this disinformation on purpose in order to push her agenda. But I look at her and I think that you're elected. You have power. There are people behind you listening. You're American. You're free. In order to go and be elected, for an election to happen, to elect someone, you just have to be 18. You show your ID. You just go in and vote. There's no laws. There's no well, white people have it this way and black people have it this way in the election. That's insanity. Sometimes I'm reminded when I hear stuff like that about the biblical story about how in Exodus, when Moses freed the Jews and they were walking in the desert and they began to get hungry and began to starve and felt like God isn't providing anymore, but at least when we were slaves, at least when we were back there, we had food. We didn't have to worry about that. I want to go back to that. When I hear these Democrats talk about these Jim Crow laws as if this is a Jim Crow law, it's almost like they want it to go back there because then they actually were victims. They were these people. And now that they're free, they don't know what to do with themselves. And so Democrats just encourage this ideology, encourage to speak, encourage this thought process of, yeah, you are oppressed. You are this. You are hunted by cops every single day. You are this. When I look at her and I'm just like, you are elected. You are free. It's like my liberal friends and I'm like, we live in a racist country? Okay, what about Obama being elected twice?
Well, they weren't people that voted for him.
Yeah, not because of the color of his skin, because they didn't agree with his politics. Clarence Thomas, I always use a Supreme Court who's hated by liberals, is not celebrated. But we have a black man in the Supreme Court, and there's, we're not going to celebrate him. We're still oppressed. this type of thinking isn't healthy for anyone. This type of thinking is encouraged by Democrats because it divides us. This type of thinking is encouraged by Democrats because it creates hysteria. It creates a problem because they love that. They love a problem because when they have a problem, they can actually push bills in order to gain more power. And once politicians have power, they never take it back. 14 days to slow the spread. Let's keep listening.
I am an American and I want to vote without somebody infringing upon my rights and the rights of my constituents. And I stand to fight in today for it. I stand to fight for it until I can't fight no more. Because I'm tired of people picking on us for no reason.
Nobody's picking on you. You're picking on yourself. Nobody's picking on you. You're picking on yourself. There's this new wave of people just screaming victimhood when there's nothing that they should feel like a victim about. There's real people that are real victims of crimes, hate crimes. And those people's stories are silenced because of stuff like this. You're crying wolf. You're at the edge of a cliff. I can't take it anymore. I just want to be treated like an American citizen. You are, just not in your party. They see you as a victim. I see you as a victor. There's this weird push to squash disinformation right now. The White House is talking about holding Facebook and companies like that accountable. Also, the people that are pushing this information, which is ironic because, people are pulling up old clips of, Biden and Kamala saying negative things about getting a COVID vaccine and saying, I won't get that vaccine because Trump produced it. That's allowed. But this is also allowed. This is disinformation. This divides people. This is wrong think. This isn't right to think. And that's why conservatives are always saying it's always on one side. And it is. I don't know what to think about this stuff. It makes me sad. It generally makes me sad seeing this woman. She's probably a bright woman, I'm hoping. But she's lied to. And she believes in the narrative. And because of that narrative, her hysteria is at an all-time high. She's freaking out. And she believes the world is out to get her. She believes that she is a victim and that Republicans are taking away her people's right to vote or something. Our politics are so insane at the moment. I mean, they've always been insane. But people believe this. People believe her screaming and losing her mind in 4 mics as people are clapping behind her. No one's calling her out. No one's saying that. Everyone's so quick to call out Majority Taylor Greene. They're like, but she's just insane. But this is celebrated. This is worse, I think, because it's celebrated. This victimhood, this everyone's out to get me, and I'm the oppressed, even though I'm not oppressed. Please let me know what your thoughts are below on this video because it generally concerns me and makes me sad for what the future will hold as this stuff is continued pushed up to the top and seen as good. Let me know your thoughts below. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. As always, I'll see you on the next episode of The Derek O'Shea Show.